Hey everyone, Shadow Rockets here, and I actually just finished recording an interview with someone who I have looked up to for years. And I just want to tell you that's an incredible experience. So I don't know if I'm gonna make this one video or three because I was recording for 25 minutes and honestly I was starstruck the entire time. And so alright, I'll let you know who I was interviewing, and that was iBotPeaches. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this person, but if you haven't, I encourage you to go and look up ibotmods.net and just experience the community that he developed at such a young age. I was so I couldn't believe it that he's only a year older than me. I had always thought that he was probably double my age. I was in middle school and trying to mod Halo 2, and he was just at the forefront of this massive modding community, and he was a year older than me. That just blew my mind. So without further ado, I want to get right into the footage because it is long. So I'm sorry if if you're not as excited as I am for this. Just try to understand that I got to interview essentially someone that I looked up to, and someone that was left a major impression in my life, I should say. And so, thank you, iBotPeaches, for letting me interview you, and thank you to all of his friends, and thank you to the iBot Mods community for really getting me into, I guess, Halo 2, really customizing things, making them my way, and just showing me that there's more to the world than what you're given. So, here's the footage. I hope you enjoy it. I guess I want to start off with just a really simple question, kind of generic, but what's going on? Tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe projects that you're doing right now, or stuff that you've got going on in your life.
Yeah, well, I guess since I have not really been on iBot Mods, I mean the site runs, but I don't do anything really related to it anymore. As of now, I'm just all Android stuff. I do APK tool, which is actually a tool that reverse engineers Android applications. That takes up about the majority of my online time. Otherwise, I just waste time gaming like the old days, so not much has changed there.
Do you have any particular games that are your favorite?
I only bought Destiny here because I was waiting for Master Chief Collection, and I surprisingly loved it so much I'm still playing it like right now. So I'd say Destiny and Halo and Gears of War are my only three games.
Those, you hold them dear to your heart. Okay, so what originally made you want to get into modding, and what was your first game, if you remember, that you modded?
My first game modded was definitely Halo 2, and it was because I played Halo 1 so much that, I mean, I didn't mod Halo 1 because I was too young back then, but when Halo 2 came around, I got spawn killed in a matchmaking map, and I needed to figure out how that was done, so I just spent hours and hours Googling and buying stuff, which unfortunately back then I didn't have the money or ability to just go somewhere and buy something, so I had to just pretty much lie to my parents of what these things were they were buying so I could mod, and that is how I started modding Halo 2.
And oh my gosh, and at one point, that's actually, I like that a lot. At what point though did you get the idea to maybe make a website and start a modding community, thus iBot Mods, I should say?
When I started modding it, I found a site called Zero Mods, and the guys there were pretty cool until they did, like, I was there a member for about a couple weeks, and I started making topics and posting stuff, but they started to expand their site to posting just illegal movies and music and stuff, and it was expanding to be more than just Halo, and I didn't like that, so I was like, are you guys your site's gonna get shut down if you just start uploading all this illegal stuff, and they wouldn't listen to me, so I said, fine, I'm really just gonna go make my own then and leave. So I copied and pasted all the topics that I wrote on their site and took them to my new site, and then that's how iBot Mods was started.
And the name behind iBot Mods, was that just simply because you bought mods?
No, it surprisingly came from my username, which was iBotPeaches, which came from the fact that I enjoyed peaches and I had just the movie iRobot, which came out. It seemed recent, but that movie came out a long time ago.
So we could pretty much boil it all down to the fact that Will Smith is behind everything.
Yes, he is the reason iBotMods exist.
Thanks, Will Smith. All right. So, did you ever think that iBotMods would grow to the size it was when it peaked? I mean, it was huge. I remember so many people posting every day.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea it was gonna get that big. I would go to school, which I was like fourth or fifth grade back then, sixth grade, and it was amazing. My AIM was getting, every time I signed on, 50 plus messages, and I was getting emails like crazy, and it was insane for a little guy to have all that communication. So I loved it, but at the same time, it took the worst of people who took advantage of it and hacked and destroyed it to pieces, which is then inevitably how I ended up learning a lot of what I know now. But I have no idea why it grew. I have no explanation. I was in the right place at the right time. A little Halley's Comet just worked out.
Okay, interesting. That actually, you kind of provided a nice segue. I was going to ask, was there any problems in particular that you ran into while running the site? Maybe personal problems or people like, I don't know, stalking you or something? What was the worst problem that you ran into? Maybe DDoSing or?
Back then, those were the, like, you can sign up and get a free forum website, and those were the original iBot mods, which was bad in the sense that those were never updated. So guys that knew a lot more than I did as my younger self would just SQL inject and cripple my site and delete the entire member database, and that was the first few bad things. Like, personally wise, people somehow got my address and phone and my parents' phones and stuff, and they posted them online. That was a bit creepy as a kid, but that was about the only thing I had to deal with, which I kept most of that all secret from the parents because I didn't want them to know that a bunch of random guys now knew their address, phones, and where they lived and stuff, which obviously is not too hard to find, but for a younger guy, when that information is presented to you, it's pretty startling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that'd be spooky as hell, actually. I don't know what I would do in that situation. How young were you when this was happening?
So I started iBot Mods in the 4th grade.
No way.
Yeah, I was pretty young. Which, I look back at some of the posts I made, and you can tell there my English is horrible, the grammar's bad. I was a kid. I tried not to act like it in my post. I tried to always maintain like an English level so people couldn't identify how old I was, and I don't know how well that worked. Now I don't really hide behind a username, so yeah.
Fair enough. Was there any community member that you remember in particular that just irritated you so bad, but you couldn't live without them at all? Just every single day you logged on, you're like, this guy sucks, but at the same time he provides so much and brings it to the table.
Over the time iBot Mods was alive, there was probably a few of those people. I mean, people join a site and they become so, they join the community, they post a lot, they become such a helpful member of the community that they then get the idea in their head that they are better than that community and can make their own or want changes enforced. And a couple of these people came to iBot Mods and they wanted, my favorite or most remembered one was Dark Slipstream, who created some really kick-ass tools, but then he wanted to change things and force his own rules and just kind of run the site his way, and I didn't want that. So he deleted all of his posts and left to make his own site. And a lot of people don't realize the amount of stress or problems or actual work that goes into running a site. And inevitably, I don't know where Dark Slipstream is now. I don't know if his site's still up, but it's tough to do. And there's a few people that came along to iBot Mods doing just exactly that, making huge contributions, then deciding they were not better's not the right term, but they were more involved and shouldn't participate on this site and make their own. And they left, made their own, and then those sites collapsed. So those members were probably the ones that were annoying for when they signed on. They would always have ideas, but not ideas that I wanted iBotMods to follow in.
Okay, that's fair enough. I guess to lighten the mood a little bit, just gonna ask a couple spontaneous questions here, just to kind of I guess this is more than halfway through point, but what is your favorite kind of pie?
My favorite pie definitely is key lime pie. I don't know if that's an allowed answer, but it is really the only pie I enjoy since it's probably so fattening and light, and I had it when I was in Florida and it's amazing.
Okay, back to business. I have other silly questions, but I feel like I shouldn't. So, what was your favorite mod? There were so many that passed through iBotMods. I remember going through just the forums probably 5 times a week, and there was something different every single time. So was there any particular mod that stood out? I mean, obviously, what was that? The Killtrosity map pack, that one that everyone liked. But was there a different one maybe that was your favorite, or was that just it for you?
My probably most individual favorite mod was probably Snipers in the Mist. It was one of the very first publicized AI mods, and that one had it was on Sanctuary in Halo 2, and the snipers would spawn on the little perks on the top of Ring 3 and on the upper areas, and then try and kill you. And that was just absolutely amazing, because as a single person you could jump into this and immediately get sniped by all these AI bots, and that changed a lot of the Halo 2 modding when that came out. And that was probably off the top my favorite one. But now obviously there's some mods like that were just better than that, like, oh, I can't remember his name, but it was the containment one. It was Mr. Gate or Dr. Gate or Mr. Murder. That was it, Mr. Murder. He made an amazing containment mod that I can't remember. Oh, Nightwinder. Nightwinder by Mr. Murder. That was the second probably best one.
I feel like I've played that one maybe 1,000,000 times, so I kind of know where you're coming from with that.
Alright, well that's the end of the first half of this interview. I wanted to split it up for rendering time and for the sake of take a break and, you know, gather your thoughts and go into the second half of this interview. And I don't know about you, but I, by this point, was already just overwhelmed with, I don't know, I didn't even know how to explain it. I was in awe. In awe is all I could say. And yeah, I think this second half we get to become pretty good friends, maybe as much as just a one interview could get us. So definitely recommend checking out the second half, and if you did like this, don't forget to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Shadow Rockets out.